Welcome back to Speaking Truth to Goodness. I'm Patti, and today we're inching deeper into tactics in our activism playbook. We're tackling the misconceptions of the left versus right narrative and focusing on the real fight, bottom versus top. From Jerry's invitations to consider new possibilities to our failures and learnings from past tactics, this episode is all about intentional action. We discuss the importance of leading with compassion and listening, and the crucial roles these play in our activism. Join us as we strategize on building the world we long for from the inside out. Like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram.
I'm looking at you again.
Well, I guess earlier in this conversation and when you brought up Tim Cook, it was a reminder to me that the elite are not worried about climate change. There's been a lot of underground mansions built in places that, they've hired the best scientists to find them where, maybe there won't be quite as much Earth disruption, and we'll just wait it out in our golden tower in the ground.
Or travel in space.
Or travel in space. I mean, it's ridiculous, right? But if the elite, like the Tim Cooks of the world, are the ones making decisions, they don't give a shit. They're going to be fine. They're going to live in their protected places because they've built a world that they can now separate themselves from.
Right.
And so they don't have to care about what they've left in their wake, making their mega corporations. And so, yeah, the laying down of whatever we're going to lay down is all of us going, hey, pointing up and looking at them. Because our fight is bottom versus top, not left versus right. And they've done such a good job at convincing us that it's left versus right.
Yeah.
But that's not real at all.
Right. Yeah, You're right on, Patti. Right on. And we have to challenge the people at the top. We can't we have to disrupt what they're doing. So we have to be confrontative.
Yeah.
As well as offering a warm, friendly, compassionate vision of the world we want.
Yeah.
It's like the Janus image, looking to the future, looking to the past. Mm-hmm. The part that looks to the past has to resist the past. And the part that's looking forward isn't in direct relationship to that. It's in relationship to sowing the seeds of the world we need. The outcome's unknown. We had a little bit of this conversation last night, Patti and I. I think we're compelled to do what we truly believe to build the world we want in ourselves now, and among comrades and family and people we love, while pursuing this other path. But if we can't choose one or the other, it has to be both.
I would contend, and this is me being like a little bit of a cosmic thinker.
Patti.
I would contend that work within ourselves and the people we encounter, that if we are living that world, the world will develop that direction. And that's maybe just, over the top wishful thinking.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Well, let me just be really clear.
Yeah?
It's not going to happen a week from Friday.
That's fine.
But what I'm saying is that's the deep strategy. That's the overarching strategy. And then these other pieces are, I think, in some ways connected to whether they actually are antagonistic to what we're trying to build. Yeah. And I'm just going to subside now into back in my teapot where I belong. But it's like, we've got to be, if I say got to be, slap me. That is just never a phrase you should ever, ever, ever say. Patti knows, I think. I say, I invite you to consider, as opposed to you should, because you should doesn't have a good track record. That would be helpful.
Yes, I've had friends tell me that they are learning to stop shoulding all over themselves.
Yeah, we do it more to ourselves than anybody else.
Absolutely, we do. Well, you're right. I think what we're coming to is there has to be a base strategy of this connection and humans who work together for the greater good and understand whatever, and the tearing down of capitalism or massive transformation, however that goes. So we've got that strategy, and we need to be clear on that one because it should inform
exactly
the specific strategy of get Zenith off that fucking land,
right,
and give it back to the birds and the fish.
And I think, take Zenith as an example, that you could have a strategy that is not wholly aligned with the deeper strategy. In other words, there's a clear and present danger. So certain strategies and tactics that we would hope weren't necessary may be. So it's like, there's no, computers, what do they love? 0 and 1. 0 and 1.
Yeah, binary.
It's not 0 and 1.
Right.
Life is not binary. Zero, not 0.
But you can get to anything through a series of 0 and 1 questions.
You can. Ugh.
There's a book called The Ministry of the Future. You know about that? It was written a few years ago. A lot of people who are climate activists have read it. It's a story of climate change getting to the point where the heat waves are so extreme that they're killing millions of people.
Oh, dear.
In each episode. And so people in various governments around the world finally come together and say, we've got to stop this. So they start doing very positive things about stopping the use of fossil fuels in many places, not every place. And it's all very regenerative, compassionate actions, but there are exceptions. In a country, it happened. I don't think they ever call it India, but it's obvious that it's India, where the worst heat events have happened in this story. People start shooting down commercial jetliners.
Why did that make me? That made me happier than it should have just now, I have to admit.
Yeah, but
I have to do some work on that.
Innocent people in these, these passenger jets.
Oh, that's fair. Okay.
And it continues through the whole story. It doesn't. The story ends before there's any addressing of that. But that's just an example of what you were talking about, Jerry. That it's that the strategies for creating the world we want are not all going to be aligned with each other, and in fact, they're going to be in some ways very contradictory.
Right. So it's sort of like they have water available for us here where I live, and some days they put watermelon in it, and some days they put cucumber. What we want to do is infuse the conversation in the way that fruit infuses the water here. Right? In other words, I have no idea how to directly do what I believe we need to do except to live it out, which I try to do. But if we can just bring the essence of what we're talking about into everything we do, that feels slow. It's not going to be a week from Friday. It's not. I may not be a week from Friday.
But the tactics can speed things up, and that's the point of the tactics, right?
The tactics what?
The point of the tactics is to speed things up. Right? Because the tactics are chosen, in theory, specifically to, and we should be thinking about that too, right? Hey, we're going to hang a banner off of this bridge here. Right. Well, why? Who's going to give a shit?
Yeah.
Right? And you figure out who's going to give a shit about that. Who's going to respond? How do we want them to respond? Is it dual? Are we using that so people know we exist and then we have more capacity? Are we using that to make the mayor really scared? Right? Like, why? Why? Who gets to make things move that we need to light a fire under? Right?
So, I see it as a dual two things need to go on at the same time: the long game and finding strategies and the tactics to support them to leverage the change that needs to happen. Knowing it won't be a week from Friday. Patty's doing teeter-totter over there. You don't see that on the podcast, but the tipping point, finding the tipping point.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, it's going to take a lot of love, time, and effort on the long game to tilt it, because it's so locked in. The conflictual nature of our society right now makes that really difficult.
Can we jump to tactics? Because I fully think that, we have tactics of doing an action, right? In front of a place, we have chalk, we have signs, we have whatever. Those are all like parts of the tactic, right? Because they have some intention toward moving us toward our goals, right? But I think a lot of tactics we come up with can be used in lots of different places and ways. So it might not be all bad to come up with tactics in general. And we can think about, we could go through and the three of us kind of brainstorm tactics for building a compassionate society, tactics for getting Zenith off that land, right? If we wanted to kind of swirl on both of those right now and get a sense of what tactics look like when they're a broader thing and what tactics look like when they're hyper specific, like one company off one piece of land. I know it's not one company, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm not fully aware of everything that's being done strategically and tactically with Zenith. I don't know what. So how do we take? I mean, we have a friend who's going to run for city council to raise just these issues, but how do we get climate change to be part of this very potentially rich political process of changing forms of government from mayor to city manager, strong mayor to city manager, and getting real representative districts, which we've never had in Portland. So so we need, in my mind, we need a strategy for how, in an appropriate way, not just breaking in and saying we interrupt this campaign to tell you the planet's on fire. No. So I have literally, having not thought about this, I have no idea how we do it, but it's the kind of thing I think we need to do. It's like, how do we take environmental justice as part of this climate change discussion, which is completely connected, but also has its own separate reality, which is poor people, people of color, pay disproportionately for the errors of how we're moving forward. So I'm not. I wish I were at a point where I understood how all these things intersect in a way where I could say, well, here are some things we could do. I'm not there yet. But it's the kind of thing I really believe in. And it's like well, Michaela, you're really beautifully concerned with the fact that Europeans think they're leading the climate movement, when in fact there are all these indigenous voices and out there that know way more than we do about the underlying truth of this struggle. Mm-hmm. And so how do we keep constantly bringing that back into the conversation when it's easy to go straight ahead and not reach out and pull this other stuff in?
Yeah.
Yeah, everything you're saying makes sense, and it's just making me more and more and more grind into the idea that what we need to be doing is building capacity. Because if we want to listen to indigenous voices, marginalized peoples, and like jump on board with what they're doing and see a good thing and give our support to it, then what we need to do is have strategies to bring in more people so we can show up with fucking 500 people at actions or whatever. You know what I mean? Or like go clean things up, go work up, whatever. Like we need people to do anything we're going to do.
what we need to do first, we have to build our relationship to those communities that are not represented.
Yeah.
And I would change the words bring in to support, join and support those who have known for millennia how we need to be living.
Yep.
Because white people have been trying to get people of color to join us for centuries, and we've fucked it up.
Yeah, we do.
We have spoiled their world.
Which is why I'm saying we need to bring in people to what we're up to. White people, probably, whoever wants to, obviously, but like we need to make a chunk of folks to go support the other things that are happening.
Right.
So here's the thought that's not going to happen. We need to stop doing what we're doing for a year and actually learn how a model of what we're talking about works. It's not going to happen. We're not going to stop. No one's going to stop. But see, that's the thing. I'm stuck with all this, and you heard too, Michaela. Patty's less burdened with decades of doing this work and understanding that we rarely move toward what we're talking about. We go relatively straight ahead and forget that we need to, on the one hand, first of all, find a way, and it's not going to be easy, to be collaborative with people of community, with, LGBTQ reality and all that stuff. But if we don't do that work, we can't win. And win, I use in a very limited sense of survive, flourish. So there are two poles, and they're both real and they're both valid. They need to be linked, and that's a grandiose vision. That's me, and if I did smoke dope, it would be me after a couple of joints. It's like, but my world really is informed by these larger patterns and energies, and then trying to find a way to sort of step that down into something that actually is useful.
Okay, because I'm sitting over here like, hey guys, what if we go take off our clothes in the street? Do you think that would bring people in?
Cops.
Portland is a city where we are allowed to get naked as part of a protest. It is legally allowed here. So that is not the final answer.
Why didn't I know that? Oh, wait, I never got naked.
That is not the final answer, but like when my head's in tactic land, that's where I want to go. I want to be like, well, great. What could we do that'll make people be like, I want to go do that. Right. And if we're centering ourselves as, hey, we're white people that know that we don't know shit, but we have big hearts and want to do the right thing. So, hey, we're going to be a bunch of white people that supports these other initiatives. And then we can, if we've got a big group that's also been building connections with Indigenous, BIPOC, etc. folks, then those connections can be more tangible when we make them, right? So that we can meet with leaders, whoever of groups can meet and be, because this is how, blah, blah, blah. This is how social media stuff works. The idea of, I promise this is going to make sense. The idea of like being a model, used to be that you would get professional headshots made and you would send them to agencies and hope that an agency would take you on and then hope that that agency would then find you jobs, right? So it was this whole like agency doing the work. That's not how it works anymore. In modeling, people build up a following themselves by way of social media, and then when they go to an agency or whatever, they're taking their dashboard of their statistics like, hey, I already have 10,000 followers, so I'm a good bet, right? And so, but apply that to this. Like, if are we going to be more appealing as a partner for change to BIPOC organizations if we're walking in with 9 people who know how to give of themselves until they have nothing left? Or are we going to be more appealing if we can walk in there and say, hey, we've got an active mailing list an active group that ranges from, 120 to 300 people that would be ready to come to show up to support your action, I know which one they're going to think, hey, we should partner with them. Or I think they'll support us.
I wonder. I don't know.
I don't know either, but this is just me trying to look at, and this is me not being an activist person, right? Like not coming from years of this. This is me trying to understand the world as it's sitting right now. See, how does it work?
So my question about that is, I mean, that's absolutely necessary, what you're suggesting. And how much can we count on those people who click on your social media platform to get your message, no matter how many times they do it? How much can we count on them being willing to show up and do the work, not just read your blog?
Agreed. Yeah.
But do the work, because that's what's necessary here. Not the work of challenging Zenith Oil, but also the work of building citizen assemblies and cooperative businesses and childcare centers and schools that really teach. And that's there's a big question mark for me about people's willingness to get off the internet and do the work.
And
yet the internet is a place where the work can be done too.
Well, it can start there.
I think,
I'm somewhere in between now. I'm between the two of you here in this conversation.
It's like I don't disagree with you, but I also think there's potentially more, there's more potential with what we can do than maybe we are even fully aware of. So I don't want to discount it out of hand when there's so much new, different options for causing trouble through those methods. I don't want to count it out, because I think I don't know, but I think it has potential for causing a lot of good trouble and having the same effect that we think it could have outside of the internet. Right? I mean, so what would it be? Well, okay. Also, to your point, you're right. Not every person who reads or watches the social media videos is going to, sell everything they have and come join us. But some will. And, maybe that's known out there. Maybe we know for every 100 people that click on something, one is going to show up. Okay, great. That tells me that's how many more views I need to get. I don't know. I'm totally open to being wrong about this, and I'm making it up.
She's not totally open to being wrong about this.
Yes, I am. I would need data, but yes, I am.
Data.
Yeah.
Actually, I think if the three of us can figure it out for the three of us, it's a start.
Right.
But I think it's important. I mean, I think that this is much more of an issue than those of us who are older here understand, because it's literally generations. Change is so fast now, it doesn't take very long to not understand what's going on what we perceive as a periphery, which actually may be the center. That's humbling.
Can you tell me, when you say doing the work, so let's say maybe we do only get 1 out of 100 people who follow us on Instagram or whatever, that come out and do stuff with us. So say we get that 1 out of 100. Let's say we did well on social media and we now have a really dedicated group of 60 people who are regularly doing things, right? So outside of the internet, what is the work? When you say the work, what is the physical things those people are then doing in your mind? Or when you call it the work?
First, getting in physical contact with each other, off the screen and in the flesh. Because the kind of thing that you keep preaching, Jerry, which I think is so necessary, is the kind of personal outreach and connection that it takes body chemistry to develop.
Yeah. Part of me knows, that I may be wrong, which is to say, it is a new species. It's not the same species that it was 50 years ago or 20 years ago. I really believe, just hanging out with a couple of tweeners, that it's unknown what the long-term impact is going to be. What I understand is, and it's always the first step, is I understand what I don't understand. Right? I mean, that's the first step toward understanding anything, is to know what you don't understand. I would have to spend a lot of time, which I can't be online in the way that would require me to be online to actually understand it because of my limitations, too numerous to mention right now. But so I am a bridge. I think I've always been a bridge. I'm not always known what I was a bridge between or a bridge to, but I think, yeah, I do feel like I'm always intuitively taking in new information and adapting, so that you could say I'm inconsistent because I change. But wait, everything changes. Mm-hmm. And I think it's changing faster than I can understand it.
Oh, honestly,
not a judgment,
me too.
Positive, negative. I still and probably indefinitely will believe that people need human contact to be healthy and well. I mean, I'll probably never move off that position. But doesn't say anywhere that we're going to be healthy and well. I mean, that's not a given. That's my, personal belief, desire. And again, this limitation that keeps me from going out to places to do things and investigate and know is very frustrating, because that would be my intention if that were an option for me. So living with limitation is unpleasant sometimes, but it's real, so you just do it. So this podcast is a way to be a bridge from what I don't know to what I don't know. But my friend Holly Neer, someone asked you, what's your politics? And she said, I'm willing and I'm ready. That's my politics. I can't not see the larger pattern. I can't not see what's possible. I can't not want what's possible to be actual. It's like, so I'm in this constant state of, sort of like, and figuring out, what can I actually do?
Well, yeah, that feeling is like something's not right.
So what's the difference between what I think needs to happen and what I can do? Mm-hmm. Those are very real different, very, very, very different things.
Isn't that, it is for all of us, too.
Yes,
yeah.
It is. You read any of Thornton Wilder's stuff? Mm-mm. What's his famous play about the person who dies? Who's about to be married, young couple, and it's one of the more famous.
We should stop talking about Patti now.
Oh shit! I was just getting going.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Thornton Wilder.
Just getting going. So back before pronouns had been understood properly, the male gender dominated. So quotations from most of the last 100 years are he.
Uh-huh.
So he's writing about being a man of faith, though he uses Joan of Arc as an example. But one of the things he says is they're invisible. They can be the person on the corner. They can but when I can't quite remember, the crisis comes, they hold, and they inspirit the despairing. They bring spirit to people who despair. That's part of my portfolio.
Uh-huh.
Right?
I find that linking arms with someone else and walking in the street while having a chant going brings spirit as well.
Uh-huh. I've never done that. I've never tried that. Have you ever tried that?
Not specifically that, no.
We're pulling. One of your legs is longer than the other because we were pulling it. One of the memories out of all the memories, two memories. One is when that machinist committed suicide, and I did a ceremony on the picket line. But the other is something so simple, walking next to a flight attendant picketing in front of the corporate headquarters here in Portland, and her saying, I never believed anyone would stand up for me. I can never walk another picket line. So I'll have to find another way. Yeah, I should go. You're free to talk about me when I go, and keep recording, and it can be a separate episode, what we really think of him.
Yeah, the rest of the podcast is going to be about you in your absence.
And this is the episode where we shit talk Jerry.
Yay! Okay, I'm going. I love you both.
Love you too, Jerry.
A lot. My life is so much better because you're in it.
Aw.
See you later.
See ya.
Bye. Happy baseballing. That sounded better than saying happy beanbagging, right?
Or cornholing.
Cornholing.
I think of something obscene when I hear that word.
No, I do too. As we wrap up today's deep dive into the tactics of activism, we reflect on the importance of choosing our battles wisely and the power of intentional actions. From discussing the elite's disregard for climate change to recognizing the wisdom of BIPOC leadership, we covered ground on how to approach activism with a long game perspective. Thanks for joining Jerry, Michaela, and I as we navigated these complex topics. Stay connected by subscribing to our channel, commenting with your thoughts, and following us on Instagram. Keep speaking truth to goodness, because goodness is all around.